Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate everyone's attendance tonight. Thank you for the different groups and organizations that have come together to put forth this forum and debate. As I said, my name is Matt Chandler, running for the New Mexico Attorney General's office. This is a special night for me because it was about 16 years ago that I enrolled here in college to attend Eastern New Mexico University and pursue a degree in criminal justice with a minor in psychology. Many different people in this community and this campus and one particular group really began to help mold me into who I am today. Whether it was Dr. Johnson teaching me psychology or the men that walked through the doors at 227 South Avenue K, or Dr. Lockman teaching me criminal justice. It was in this very room about 14 years ago that a fraternity brother of mine and also the president of the University of Indiana, Dr. John Ryan, said that this world is produced with doers and dreamers, but very few can do both. And he challenged me to do that, and I've tried to embark upon that for the last 16 years. After finishing up law school, I moved back to my community and became an assistant district attorney, both in Curry and Roosevelt counties, where I prosecuted cases, stood with law enforcement officers, defended the Constitution, protected victims. In fact, it was the courthouse just down the street here where I prosecuted as an assistant district attorney a young lady by the name of Deanna Willis, who was intoxicated beyond impairment, got behind the wheel of a vehicle, drove down the wrong way on US 70 and struck and killed Deborah Hoover, who was on her way from Ruidoso to Oklahoma City to celebrate her parents' 50th wedding anniversary. It was in March of 2005 when I received a phone call to attend an investigation that was on a desolate Roosevelt County road where we found the bodies of Otis and Doris Newman burned in the trunk of their vehicle. We sought justice in that particular case and all the cases that I've been able to prosecute, and we've obtained justice. In the particular case of the Newmans, it was issuing trials and convictions of the two defendants and sentencing them to over 250 years in prison. That's the mentality that I believe that we need in the New Mexico Attorney General's office today. A mentality of holding people accountable, not turning a blind eye to corruption, making sure that we go after those that are pickpocketing the taxpayers. Because when we have the consequences outweigh the benefits of corruption in New Mexico, I think New Mexico will be able to proceed forward in the areas where it matters most: education, jobs, the economy. I'm looking forward to a meaningful debate and discussing the issues that are important to not only this community but the state, and asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I also want to say that it's a great pleasure for me to be here on the campus of Eastern New Mexico University. We've got a great crowd here this evening, and Matt and I have been, I think we had our first debate literally within a couple of weeks after the primary election was over. So I think that we both agree with each other that an informed electorate is the best electorate, and we've done our best to get out and let everybody see both of us and know what we're all about. So I want to tell you a little bit in this opening statement about where I came from. I actually have a little interaction, not as much as Matt does, with Eastern New Mexico University. I know this is his alma mater. But when I was at Moriarty High School, my band director was a graduate of Eastern New Mexico University, so we always came here every year for the Eastern New Mexico Homecoming Parade, which was one of the big, great parades in New Mexico, and it was like a 7-mile long parade. So I have memories of Portales sort of from one end to the other related to that parade. And then later on, when I was in college over at New Mexico State, my dad was running for governor, and I came over here with him. And I don't know, Matt, if it's your fraternity brothers that this occurred with, but we went to a fraternity house, and I volunteered to take them all on at foosball, and if I could beat them all, then they'd have to vote for my dad. And so I think they all voted for my dad. So you know, I do come from a family background of public service in New Mexico. You all indeed will know probably my father Bruce King and my mother Alice King, and I think it's really the Alice King part of me that is driven and that wanted to become the Attorney General and to do some of the other things I did. You heard a little bit about my resume, but I grew up in a family where community service was very important. My mother cared greatly about the children of New Mexico and did a lot of that. So when I first came to the legislature in New Mexico in 1987, when I first came to the New Mexico legislature in 1987, one of the first bills that I carried was something called the Family Violence Protection Act. I had a lot of folks that came to me and they said, domestic violence is a problem in New Mexico. So the bill that they had actually wasn't a bill that would actually pass constitutional muster, but instead of just saying, no, I can't vote for that bill because I don't like it, I knew it was an important issue, and I said, let me have some time to work on it and we'll work on it. And I think since then that's been a very important tool in dealing with domestic violence. Another issue that I dealt with in the legislature that was very important was the issue of DWI. When I came into the legislature in New Mexico, if you can imagine this, it was not illegal in New Mexico to have an open container of alcohol with you in there, and so I worked to do that. I brought all of those things to the Attorney General's office with me. I continue working on domestic violence issues. I continue working on helping to prevent DWI issues. Some other things, I think we'll get a chance to talk about all of those issues tonight, and we appreciate the opportunity to be here and speak to you all. So thank you very much.